So this is about the future of the NBA. These two, I think, female players have been discussing about it and probably asking the question why the WNBA, after 20 odd years, isn't making the corn like the male players are. Male players are getting on to 7.5 billion a year. There seems to be this. The figures are not being shown on what the WNBA earns. And to be honest with you, I don't understand why, because it is written in law, apparently, that no matter what happens to the WNBA, it will never fail. It can fail miserably for the next 20 more years. It will never be allowed to shut down or close down. Simple as that. Never will it be allowed to close down. So let's go through some of this because it's quite interesting. So Candace Parker has had three WNBA presidents during her career. I'll just call her Miss Stewart. Has had one. On Wednesday, both praised outgoing President Lisa Borders and looked ahead to the qualities they most hope to see in the next president. The Sparks Parker, I think that's the name of the team, a two-time WNBA MVP, and the Storm's Stewart, who won the WNBA title and was league MVP this season, were here speaking at the ESPNW Women Plus Sports Summit at Pelican Hill Resort. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is, look, I'm not a basketball fan. I haven't played basketball for years since I was at school. I went into rugby, which is that's my sport. But this is about women's issues and what's going on with women in this society today, and the way that women are being given all these things, all these setups, and even when they're not drawing in tons and tons of crowds into this game. Doesn't make any money. Okay, they may be getting more people coming in now, supposedly. Still, after 20 odd years, it's not making any money. Because the quality of the product is not up to scratch. It has a culture, it seems, that is literally bull lesbian dyke. And I think one heterosexual female who was retired, stated that 98% or more of the players in the WNBA are lesbian, which is what we expect. But what that does, it means that any other women who doesn't follow or doesn't want to follow that culture will not be accepted into the league, and unless they're exceptionally good, but they might, depends on, they might be badly bullied or badly treated. Because let's not pretend, people, if you see in teams, American football, in basketball, in the locker changing, the team. You have to be part of the team. And if there's any problems, many issues, it all comes out in the locker room at times. And, there's always going to be very strong characters in a team that will make their voice heard, because it is about money. Plain and simple. It is about money. So it's interesting what is going to be going on. So for the actual league, Parker came into the league in 2008 when Donna Ordrender, God, people got these weird names. Gosh, was president. She was replaced by Laurel J. Ritchie after the 2010 season. So she was there for 2 years. And then, this Ritchie stayed for 6 years. The year that Stewart was drafted into the WNBA. So now this other woman has only been in 2 years and she's gone. It was announced on Tuesday that Borders was leaving to take over as president and CEO of Time's Up. Right, an organisation advocating for women in the workplace. An organisation advocating for women in the workplace. Jesus Christ. I tell you this now, real men out there, you need to understand this Me Too movement, this Time's Up bollocks, it's all an attack on men, especially white men. You see, the way this works, and this is what the feminist movement has been doing for the last 50, 60 years. Anything that men produce and design is automatically owned by women. That's the thinking and the thought. So women should automatically be part of whatever new design items that men bring. If they're not, you're sexist. Look at the gaming industry. The same thing is there. There are a few women that went to these conventions and participated in the game, complained that there were few women who were coming to these conventions. There weren't enough women being included. There wasn't enough being done to include women. So I think it was EA Sports decided to do a separate competition for women only. And I think the prize money is 180,000. They're still bitching, because why couldn't these women work their way up? It's not a physical sport. They could have worked their way up to get whatever $1 million or whatever has been offered, the prize money. But instead, EA Sports and a lot of these other companies today, when feminists talk, these companies react. Feminism is a very evil, truly evil ideology. Very evil ideology. And it will be the ruin of the West, which will leave the door open to the Muslim world. They'll just walk in. And they'll have every Western woman in a burqa. And it'll be good for them, to be honest with you. The Arab man knows how to control women. There's no freedom for them to do anything they want. The only reason why this new Saudi prince is behaving the way he is because he realizes his country's reliance on oil can't continue forever. With new cars coming out that are going to be electric, and then there will be a time when stations, the way that fuel is produced will one day be through sea, wind, sun. They will become much, much more efficient, like maybe 1,000 times more efficient. The solar panels will be in windows in the home, all around the home. They'll automatically be, generating electricity into the home. And there's new technologies that will be coming in the next 50 years. So the Saudis have got to start thinking of other means of making money. And they need to be more open. Their kingdom needs to be more open. Look at Turkey. Turkey is an example, which is a Muslim country, but it is a huge destination for tourists. Tourists go there year in, year out, and yet it's a Muslim country. It is a modern country, train system, car systems, motorway systems. Turkey could be the future for the Middle East, or that area, which it straddles. So Saudi Arabia, which is probably obviously more technically advanced perhaps, and even better infrastructure than Turkey, will probably need to look towards Turkey for some ideas for tourism, for people to come in, maybe relax some of its laws on liquor. But I think it will be a real problem because the local people on the ground will not change that quickly, that easily. And there will be problems. Anyway, let's continue. It was announced Tuesday that Borders was leaving to take over, whatever. You want the best for Lisa, and if this is a better opportunity for her individually, I support that. Oh, that's really nice, isn't it? Fantastic, said Parker, who also spoke with ESPNW after Wednesday's panel concluded. What is this ESPNW? This is a woman's thing. Women in America are still oppressed. Really? It's funny. There was a girl who went to the Middle East, and she was a Democrat, youngish girl. I think she's early 20s, and I think she's been to the Middle East. She's been to Saudi Arabia. She's definitely been to Saudi Arabia and other parts of the Middle East. And I think she could speak Arabic, actually. Her eyes were opened wide, and her realization was she's not oppressed. Coming back to the United States and seeing she could do anything, move around anyhow she wanted. And she realized that she couldn't see anything that was oppressive. In fact, she sees there are unseen oppressions that are occurring to young men in America. And she now sees those, and she's completely changed her views. She's no longer a feminist, and realizes that she lives in the most that white women are the most privileged beasts on this planet. Privilege. So there is no of this oppression. they're the most supported in America. They get lots of loans for business loans there on a regular basis. And so, but anyway, again, let's continue. Here we go. Parker, who spoke afterwards, they concluded, "I'm thankful for what she's done for our league for the last 3 years, but we're always looking forward. I think the new president has to have the 3 key components. You have to have the business background, be able to unite and connect with people, and you've got to love basketball, which is a man's game built by men, designed by men." So she says here, when asked how to continue to grow the game, Candace Parker said, "Give us a little time. We are 23 years young. I'm pretty confident if you turn out to a WNBA game, you're going to be hooked. Really." Stewart added, "We came in together and Lisa's had my back individually. I'm thankful we had the opportunity to work together. But I think for the next president, just someone who comes in and is really confident, knows what we need and handles themselves like that. Someone who is really looking out for women of this league and fighting as much as we are." Being the player's advocate is an important part of the WNBA president's job, but the president also advocates for the owners and has to walk that tightrope between the interests of both when it comes to labour negotiations with the players' union and director Terry Jackson. The current WNBA collective bargaining agreement went into effect in 2014 and runs through October 2021. However, both the league and the union have the right to opt out and terminate the agreement after the 2019 season. Either side has until the 31st of this year to exercise that opt-out provision. Asked what she was most hopeful the players would achieve in the new WCBA, or at least during her career, is more money. Parker said, "Just our quality of living in terms of travel and hotels, more money, and the schedule, having a bit more saying that. Our schedule this year was very tough, and I don't know if we would have agreed to that." Oh dear, really? Okay. Several players have expressed some concern that they didn't advocate for themselves as successfully as they could have for the last CBA. I don't know what they mean by that. But Parker said part of that was some players' lack of participation in the process. You've got to vote. There were a lot of people who didn't vote for our CBA or against our CBA, Parker said. So at least have a voice. I think that's the main thing. So there's Terry Jackson has done a good job of informing us, and we are aware of what's at stake and what we wish was done in the last CBA. I don't know what CBA is. I think as long as we are informed and we're voting, these are the things that are important. So going on from the broader perspective about the game, I wish I could play this, just giving an idea of what they were really talking about. Is the best yet to come for this particular Breanna Stewart. Greater authority would help new WM move the league forward. I'm not really that bothered. They need to make their product better. You can't just assume that people are just going to come and watch your sport, because they're women playing. You've been going 23 years. You should have made your sport by this time now, with the help that you've had, financial help that you've had with the NBA, and this bitching that they've been making. You should have made your sport much more dynamic than what it is at the moment. Sorry, just need to. There we go. So got lost there somewhere. So see, the reason why I'm covering this is because I'm a believer in fairness and integrity and honesty. And I believe in getting where you're going to get in life, in this life, through sheer hard work and honesty. And you should not be expecting or feel that you are entitled, period, to anything. You have to earn it. And the WNBA was set up specifically for women. It was not set up to work exclusively on its own, because clearly the NBA is giving money to them. Ideally, what I personally think, I mean, the problem is they don't understand basic economics. If they're not making the corn to be earning the 50% that the guys are making, that's the reason why you're getting 20% of your the profits or the sales or whatever it is of the WNBA. So you have to make your sport more attractive. You have to spend more time promoting your sport in order for it to be able to warrant you to get up to that 50% at least. But I just get this feeling that, like a lot of things that went in this society, women expect everything that is done, made, produced, they will eventually end up expecting it to be theirs or be included in, period. So I was just doing a video of Oxford University, whereby they deliberately increased the 15. Sorry, I'll start again. They deliberately increased the exam time by 15 minutes in order to assist female mathematicians and computer science students, because the reason why is that they stated that there were probably the results that they were getting before was because that women were not passing their exams probably because of the pressure, the extra pressure that they felt in these exams, and that the pressure somehow affected them differently. So in order to help them out, to give them 15 minutes extra time, why bother? Why not just give them the bloody degree without taking the bloody exam? I mean, what is the point? So I just get this feeling a lot of things that not all. Of course, women can do a lot of the stuff that men do, but it has to be said, a lot of it is of a lower grade. That's it. It's as simple as that. It's of a lower grade, and it has to be acknowledged that there are things that women are not able to do in comparison to men. 50 years from now, things will be different. Perhaps we'll see mixed rugby, literally. we will see, maybe we'll see mixed rugby matches of men and women. That will be the major sport. You'll have a team of 15, and in that team of 15, somehow they'll have to make, 7 women, 7 men, and probably 1 transsexual. There you go. That makes you 15. That will happen with 50 years from now, probably. So that everybody's inclusive into the game. In the workplace, they will make it so that you get 50-50. Regardless, no company, if it's a male company that wants to set up on their own, will not be allowed to. If it's a woman's, not a problem. You see female-only gyms dotted around everywhere. It's the natural thing. But do you see male-only gyms that are dotted around? No. They wouldn't be allowed. Probably wouldn't be allowed to be given a license. So we live in the matrix. We are told that domestic violence, women are beaten badly every single day by men. Even now, if men can be put into prison if they psychologically torture their wives, not physically, but use voice and emotional torture, they can be put into prison as well. So there can be not a 1 mark on that woman. So what happens if a woman does that to a man? Insults a man, berates him, belittles him, embarrasses him in front of his friends and people like that, nags him morning, noon till night. What happens then? Will she be put into prison? This is the reason why I began to realise, this is in 2012, the unbelievable sexism and inequalities that are already in society. The fact that men earn more money in the last census that they did, that companies were forced in the UK, companies that had 250 employees or more, it said, oh look, 78% of men earn more money than women. And they didn't go into all the different criteria, all the different what they were doing, what their grades are. None of that information. They just did a complete wholesale stock check to give the feminists and the brainwashed the excuse to say, there you go. You see, women are oppressed by men. This so-called the constant stupidness of the wage gap, it is explained time and time again. It doesn't matter. The feminist movement have used this in America effectively. This constant lying. This is the thing about the feminist movement. They're immoral, evil women. If you class yourself as a feminist, you are evil. I'm sorry, you just purely are. And the way that feminists, if you dare say that the feminist movement or people who are feminists are evil people, they will try. I don't know what they're going to try. I said that once to a woman when I was at a job, and I said, feminists, I can't stand feminists. I was doing a job for her. She blew up as I was doing the job, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to actually pack my bags and leave. It was on a Saturday and I was doing the job. It was about 140 quid. And I thought, do I want to walk away from 140 quid? So I had to quickly say, but the thing is, I believe that feminism, people who call themselves feminists, if you're a true person of equality, you should class yourself as a humanist. And which then seemed to sort of placate her a little bit. So I agree. I'm a humanist. I believe in that as well. And I thought, phew. But the point is that feminists get violent. And I thought they were supposed to be against violence. I thought they were supposed to be equality and to treat people equally and reasonably kindly and all that kind of nonsense. But the point is, they're not about that. It's about power grab. It's about taking control out in the open, full out in the open. Men used to go to work to earn a crust for women, for their family. That's the woman and the children. You know, the saying is, when there's a women and children first. Women, and then children. Everything's about the woman. Everything's about the woman. Women will not go out of their way to pay for dates. If you take a woman out to date, they will not go out of their way to pay for the date. They say, well, you're taking me out. You asked me out, so you've got to pay. Men, you've got to start wising up. You've got to start wising up. When you are taking someone out and you take them to a restaurant and you spend £300-400 on that person, for what? If you're looking for sex, you might as well spend that £300 or £400 on a prostitute. You probably get a better time. Yeah. A lot of what you see in this in sports, women are expecting things to be done for them. This is what they're complaining about. The reason they're not making the corn, had it been that it was tennis, look how much tennis female players make. They're making the money because they're connected to the men's game. I believe the women's NBA are trying their utter and complete best to angle the sport in with the NBA. They're trying to find a way of putting the two, the women's game and the men's game, to work in conjunction in the same way that tennis does. Will women's tennis split from the men's tennis? I hope they do in the future. That would be nice. Let them earn their money without sort of off the backs, the sweats of the gentlemen. Then Serena Williams won't be dealt with in a sexist manner, as she said, or by being umpired by a man. Being umpired by a man is sexist. Women should only be umpired by a woman. Umpired by women. I do not want to see at any point. You see, the problem is the NBA cannot, the players cannot at any point say they're not interested in the women's game. 30 years ago, they would have said so. They said, no, we're not, 35 years, no, we're not interested. Today, you cannot make any criticism of the women's game. I bet you some of those guys are saying, cool, it's rubbish. Very poor. They've gone to sea and it's very poor. Very poor. This relates everything into the gender politics of today. Women are constantly expecting everything to be done for them. Football in the United Kingdom, Manchester United stopped financing Manchester United women's team, I think in 2006. They've now just started this season, I believe. And probably because they were constantly getting pressure from the women's movement, and from there's a women's in sport association probably consistently going at Manchester United and shaming them and saying why do you not have a women's team? During that period of time of 2006 until now, why didn't the women, if they were that loved the sport so much, why didn't they club together and set up a little league for themselves to start with? Get sponsorships, get people behind. They could have gone. There's enough rich, famous women out there that they could have reached out to, and to get sponsorship, to get them to sponsor this women's league on their own. If they'd have done that, I would have had massive respect for them. Seriously, I would have had respect for them. But instead, they did nothing. All they did was bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch at Manchester United until they eventually caved in to set up this women's league. It's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. Women don't do anything for themselves. They expect men to set it up for them every which way. And if you don't do it, you're sexist. You know. You got women talking about manspreading on the tube and on the bus. People have been complaining about people spreading their legs on the bus for as long as I've been in London, which is since 1986. It seems to be a particular thing down here in the south. In the north of England, where I used to live, people are much more polite. The men, the women, they sit accordingly in their space, and there's enough space to part your legs if you need to without encroaching on the next person. To be honest with you, the seats on the buses are, especially the modern ones, are not all they've tended to squeeze them down and made them smaller. But you do get, it's a problem you get in London on the buses where you get guys who do literally spread their legs out. And I've had to sit on someone's leg to get into the seat. You know, because there's just unfortunately the odd person who is mentally ill. It's an illness issue. It's a power thing that they play. You know, I'm here, this is my seat, and I'll spread my legs as wide as. And they do it to both men and women. They really do. So you just got to sit down and push their legs to one side. You know, make your space within your space that you're sitting at, and you'll get them looking at you. Okay. I mean, back in the day, I used to carry a knife, and I would have my hand in, you know, on the knife, ready for if he was going to bring his out or do something stupid. Because there was times when people did, you know, I started carrying a knife in London because of all these other kids started to carry. You know, I had someone pull a knife on me before, so I said, right, stuff it. I'll carry one just to defend, you know, so to at least have one. So that's why I was carrying a knife. But it is what it is. Life is what it is. You get idiots in every facets of life, and you just got to deal with them one-on-one. The WNBA, if they want to make more money, they already get 25 million from ESPN. So for broadcast rights or whatever. So they need to now come up with the goods and make their sport as exciting as possibly can. Simple as that. Anyway, that's my view on the matter. There we go.